Glenn, what would you say Mike D'Antoni's reasons were to you as you guys met this morning for him feeling like it was time for him to step away?
I think he felt it was best for the organization. I think it was a selfless move. I think he felt that he had done all he could, and he didn't really see another way for him to really positively affect the team so that we could move forward. And he felt that maybe it was time for another voice, another approach, and he stepped aside.
Mike, Ian Begley from ESPNNewYork.com. You mentioned that certain things will change. Can you elaborate on that at all?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again?
You mentioned that certain things will change. Can you elaborate on that all, and specifically will things change offensively?
I can't get deeply into that. We have a day to practice. I'm doing a lot of things on the fly going into tonight's game. But, no knock against Mike and what he's done. I think Mike is an excellent coach. He's done a great job in terms of how he runs things. But, I'll do some things a little differently than what Mike did. And tomorrow in practice, I'll begin to put some things in that hopefully that will make us better.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, Glen, Ian O'Connor with ESPN New York. Particularly last Sunday against Philadelphia after the game, Mike in here said, that basically he felt the team was playing without spirit. It was showing no resilience, not overcoming any obstacles. When you heard him say those words, were you concerned that his message was no longer connecting with the players?
No, I think it was a general frustration that the whole team felt. That we had high expectations for ourselves and for our team, and we weren't getting it done. And I think it was more of a what else can we do to get this going? And I think the frustration was felt by the players, by the coaching staff, certainly by our fans and management. So we were just frustrated that we couldn't get this thing back on track.
Glenn, Tom Rinaldi, ESPN. You said that you thought Coach D'Antoni had a rough go of it here. What do you mean?
Well, we came in a rebuilding situation, basically. Our plan was to free up some cap space, and we made some moves that maybe weren't the best moves to improve our team for that short-term period of time. They were more long-term approached. And as part of that, there was a lot of changes over the course of the in season, with the roster. So that's a tough thing on a coach. And this season is no different. We had a lot of changes and a short season and all that stuff about the lockout. So it was a tough thing to have a coach, deal with all that over the course of 4 years. So I think that's what I meant by that.
Howard Beck from the New York Times. Glenn, how would you assess the way that Carmelo's game and Mike D'Antoni's system fit together, and if they didn't fit in your view, and would we be sitting here in this press conference if those two had meshed better, if the system and Carmelo were more in sync?
Well, it wasn't just Carmelo. I think it was our whole team was not playing up to where we thought they could be, and I know Mike was as frustrated with anyone about that, and that's what led him to that decision that maybe there needs to be a new approach and a new look at it.
You have one for Mike and one for Glenn. Mike, in terms of your system offensively tonight and going forward, are you going to try to keep the same thing right away and change as we go along, or what specifically?
Well, I'm going to change as we go along. Tonight, I don't want to take anything away from what we've been doing. We're going to do some things different tonight, but maybe post Melo, some in the post. Amari, give him some looks down low on the block as well. But we won't. It's hard to change right now. I got to get a practice under my belt to be able to add some things as we move forward.
And Glenn, this meeting this morning was called by Mike. He wanted to talk to you too. How did that come about?
It was no call meeting. Our offices are right next to each other, and we normally talk, several times over the course of the day. So it was. I was on the phone in the morning and then got into the office, a little bit later than normal, like 9:30, quarter to 10, and 10 o'clock shoot around. And Mike just said, "Hey, you got a minute? Let me sit down and talk with you." And Al and I sat down with him then.
So that was before the shoot.
Well, initially yes, and then.
And then you had a later meeting when James Dolan.
Well, then I advised Jim that Mike was thinking about making some sort of a change. And so Jim came up and had further meetings after the shoot-around.
Coach, Kevin Garrity from New Yorker News. It's been mentioned a couple of times, a new voice, bringing a new voice and the positive effect it could have. What kind of relationship have you struck with the team here in your first year as an assistant?
Well, I mean, I've had a great relationship with the guys because, you have to, being a coach. And my job basically entailed the defensive side of the ball, and so I've been kind of demanding in that area in terms of defending and rebounding the ball. So I think they respect what I do, and I respect what they do. And as we move forward, it's my job as the head coach now to push guys to try to play at a higher level, because that's the only way we're going to get out of this rut that we're in terms of turning it around and making the playoffs.
Mike, Bill Daughtry, MSG Radio and ESPN Radio. Your first meeting with the players since you've been named interim head coach, could you tell us how that went and what the reaction and the mood of the players were?
Well, I told everybody to take a deep breath and relax. All's not bad. You hate to lose a coach. Mike D'Antoni was good to me by giving me an opportunity when I was out a year sitting on the side watching, and I have a great deal of respect for that. But we got to move on. We kind of can't undo what's been done, and I feel good about moving forward with this team. I expect this team to respect what we do as coaches, the guys that are still left on staff, and we're going to continue to push and try to get the most out of this team as we can to get where we need to go, and that's to the playoffs.
One for Glen and one for Mike right here. Glen, what was your initial reaction and initial response when Coach D'Antoni told you, when he spoke to you before shoot-around?
Well, I was surprised. I wasn't sure exactly what he was saying, so I asked to clarify, what do you really want to do, Mike? And he clarified what he thought was best for the team. And so Alan and I, talked amongst ourselves for a little bit to say, geez, what do we do now? So we felt that it was obviously a very important issue, so we called Mr. Dolan, and then it went from there.
And Mike, obviously Coach D'Antoni was asked this many times in many ways, and now I ask you, why do you believe the team has struggled the way it has since Carmelo's return?
Well, sitting there, it's hard to explain it, why we have struggled. And, I don't really want to get too deep into that. I think what's more important is that we move forward. And it's my job as the head coach to get us out of this struggle. And I'm up for that challenge, and I'm going to do everything possible to see that we turn the corner and head in the right direction.
Glenn, Steve Popper from The Record. Just could you talk about you and Mike as far as personnel? Were you guys always on board together? Maybe how Melo was used and the guys adding JR, some of the things that have been done lately?
Well, we always try and work together. You got to have a coach that is happy with his personnel, and no team is perfect. We don't have every position 100%, but I think Mike was pretty comfortable with the team, and we were always obviously trying to get better, and we'll continue to try and get better. But I think we were pretty good in terms of our roster. Yeah, I think Mike, like any coach, always wants to try and do this or that, and but it's not always easy to do this or that. So it's not. I thought we had a good understanding where our team was and what we're trying to do.
Okay, thanks everybody.